Salted Nets back in the building. One of these days I'm gonna change the name of this shit, man, because I ain't gonna lie. This is not a Brooklyn Nets podcast, and I think I did my best. I think I did my best to try to inform you that this is not a Brooklyn Nets podcast. First of all, round of applause. We gotta spill some drink out for my nigga Biggs. He not here with us this week. He had big shit going on, big shit popping. Again, on the next episode of PYO, if y'all follow that, we'll probably talk about some of the dope shit that's been happening in Biggs' life and why we are all very, very, very excited. But we do want to just make an effort to put these things out much more consistently, especially now that the season has started. So in the event that I can't get next to Biggs, as my Salted Net fans know, I will still try to give you an episode because at the very least I can run down some of the stuff that's going on in the league currently. Now, I don't like to toot my own horn. I don't like to talk about how right I am, especially when it's at somebody else's expense. I'm lying. It's my favorite thing to do is to talk about exactly when I was right at somebody else's expense. Zion Williamson is injured, I think, currently. I'm not even going to lie. When I saw that Zion Williamson was injured, I didn't even look into it. I'm going to look into it right now for you. I don't even know what he injured and how, but I'm fairly sure that he is out for a significant amount of time. Why? Because he's Zion Williamson. And again, I'm not, this is nothing earth-shattering here, right? Like, nothing I'm saying is new. This has been a story of Zion Williamson's career from its inception, from the beginning, right? Is that, can he stay healthy? And last podcast, I said something about how, like, it doesn't matter if he's chunky or skinny or whatever, Zion Williamson's physique is always impressive. Yeah, I listened back on that, and I was like, it does become problematic in some senses at some times, right? Because this is the problem with him being, but he's in great shape this season. I can't even say that, right? Perhaps he's like Derrick Rose. Like I always say that Derrick Rose, like, listen, his body just wasn't built for his athletic talents, right? At a certain point, it just started breaking down. And Russell Westbrook has had like fucking 3 or 4 meniscus surgeries and shit like that. He's bone on bone, and he's still doing whatever the fuck he want to do. He's still playing right now, and he's been playing at a relatively high level for the majority of his career. He's falling off now, but we all knew that when he fell off, it would be off of a cliff. But it's not like... It still feels like Russell Westbrook has had like a natural progression to the decline of his career, right? Like in Houston, he was still a triple-double threat. He was still doing his thing up until like, I want to say like probably until 33, 34. And, people who know a lot more than me, shout out Bomani Jones, have predicted that when it started to end for Russell Westbrook, it would start to end really badly. But there are some people who it just feels like perhaps they have this phenomenal array of talents, but we have to remember that professional athletics is not a natural thing. It's not a natural thing. What these players are doing on a basketball court, it feels like, it's good for the body because it's healthy and all that stuff to be working out and exercising. But no, actually, it's hell on the body, and it's not a natural thing. And so just because you have this immense collection of physical attributes that do make you a phenomenal, once-in-a-generation, splendid athlete from a size, power, strength, quickness, speed perspective standpoint, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're meant to play professional basketball and everything that comes with that for 82 games a year, including the playoffs. And Zion Williamson, I think the Pelicans are poised to have him out for 4 to 6 weeks. He is simply not able to stay healthy, and I take no joy in that. I'm not even saying that this will always consistently be the case. Currently, though, the New Orleans Pelicans, I have no idea what to make of them. I have no idea what their future looks like. I have no idea. Perhaps it's time to get rid of Zion. Not because you don't believe in him. And I know that they hang on to him because he came right on the heels of Anthony Davis demanding out, and there was a lot of salt attached to Anthony Davis wanting out and the way he wanted out, and it was dope for the Pelicans that they felt like they were able to replace him with a franchise caliber player immediately upon his exit. And right on cue, Anthony Davis, who has always, had his own injury bugs and issues, but won a ring with the Los Angeles Lakers, is currently playing, and some would have him in MVP contention. I think he's definitely in MVP contention, but some think it's like either him or Jokic right now, right? Which is like, boom, not only did the guy leave and win a ring, and your guy's like just as injury prone, maybe worse, and like you can't get the thing off the fucking ground, but he's also like still playing at an elite level. But the Anthony Davis and the Pelicans thing was never going to work out, I think. And I don't think they have anybody I don't think they should be upset. They got some really good years out of that. More years than it looks like they might get out of Zion, because I don't know if Zion will do anything worthwhile in New Orleans before he's out of there. Should they ship him? Should he demand a trade? I mean, should they look to be the ones looking to trade him? Should he be the one looking to get traded? Should it be a mutual thing? I'm not sure. It's never really felt like Zion has been particularly happy with the Pelicans. It's never really felt like, he's a good soldier. He says a lot of the right things, but a lot of reporting around that situation seems like, their relationship has been less than ideal. And I don't make the rules. We wish Zion Williamson a speedy recovery, and we want to see what we're gonna be on New Orleans West just this year. This year we're on Pelicans watch. We was on Celtics watch. I think like the last 2 years, damn near. And the Celtics end up winning the championship, and they look like money right now. So right now we're gonna be on Zion watch for a while. We're gonna see how that works out. I want to talk about a man. If you'll have a little bit of time, if you can make some time out of if you can take some time out of your busy schedule, if you can fit me in, if you are moved by the spirit of the things that I'm saying and by the things that I think we are all feeling, I would like to talk to you about a man today. I would like to talk to you about somebody you maybe didn't wake up this morning thinking about, maybe didn't go to sleep last night thinking about. Somebody that has been right there this entire time. Somebody that has been knocking on your door, knocking on the door of your heart, praying, hoping, wishing that you would let him in, because honestly, he won't let you down. He's never let me down. I want to talk to y'all about a man named Nikola motherfucking Jokic. We have to have a conversation. This will come out on Wednesday, so I think he'll have played. This won't be accurate as his last 9 games, I don't think, by the time you guys hear this. But I think as of November 11th, these were the last 9 games by Nikola Jokic. 41 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. 40 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. 29 points, 18 rebounds, 16 assists. 26 points, 9 rebounds, 13 assists. 27 points, 16 rebounds, 9 assists. 28, 14, and 13. 23, 20, and 16. 30, 11, and 14. 37, count them, 37, 18, and 15. Nikola Jokic, my glorious porcelain king, Nikola Jokic is just leagues above your favorite player. It's not even close. It's not even a conversation. I don't understand what you're doing if you're not here on the side of Nikola Jokic and his dominating tear and what he's doing in this league. He makes it look far too easy. He doesn't need to be able to jump. He doesn't need to do any of the things that you feel like you need to see before you hand him the crown. He's a multi-time MVP winner, and it seems like he's on pace to win another MVP, if not now, then next year or the year after that. Because there's some guys that the NBA might want to spread the wealth and get that motherfucker off to. They might want to get that award to. But Nikola Jokic, for my money, has been the best offensive player in basketball for years now. I gotta do some number crunching and looking at stuff before I decide straight up and down that he's the best player in basketball, although I do lean that way. Most days I do lean towards the idea that Nikola Jokic is the best player in basketball. I think when you're that good offensively and you're pretty good defensively, I think that that's a recipe for best player in the league. Unless there's a guy who's just summarily talented on both ends of the floor in a way that approaches Nikola Jokic's peak offensively and dwarfs his defensive peak. And I don't see anybody that can affect a basketball game like Nikola Jokic. I don't see. And the beauty of it in this era, in this post-Braun era, is that I think we have more of an understanding for guys who bring what the team needs them to bring. I think we have more of an appreciation for that. Nikola Jokic, if he needs to show up to scoring, he's going to show up to scoring. If he needs to get 40, he'll get 40. But he's not thirsty for 40. He's not going out there every night looking for 30 and 40. But if he needs to, he needs to. If you need him to give 15 assists tonight instead of 9, instead of 7, instead of 8, he'll give you 15 assists. He's a rebounding monster. And this is the thing about a guy as versatile as Nikola Jokic, is that it's not just that he's versatile. There are plenty of guys who are versatile that you wish they were better at the things that kind of you brought them here for, right? Like ultimately, Nikola Jokic is a 7-foot center. You'd like him to be a good rebounder at least, like as good a scorer and passer is. You'd be like, well, okay, like if he could be a good no. He's an all-time rebounder. He's phenomenal. He's almost peerless when it comes to rebounding. But let's say he was just the scorer he is and the rebounder he is, and you were like, it'd be really nice if Nikola Jokic was able to move that ball around sometimes, if we can get him to be a better passer. That's a complaint you hear about bigs all the time. You hear that about big men all the time. Is that like it'd just be a little bit easier for all this shit to flow if our star big man could pass a little bit better. He may be the best passer in basketball. I think he's the best passer in basketball. I do right now. He's the best passer in basketball. You can have an argument that just like peak for peak, he may be a better passer than Bron, and I don't even want to say that. Like that doesn't make me happy to say at all. You know how I feel about Bron. If you fuck with this podcast and you fuck with me, you know how I feel about Bron. I'm not saying Jokic is better than Bron. I don't think I'll ever be able to say that. I don't think it's true. But more importantly, if it was true, I don't think I'd be the one bringing you that true statement. It wouldn't be coming from me. But I've never seen anything like this, right? He is the true evolution and the coming of the point center that we have like spoken about for years now. And anytime, like I think Giannis kind of flirted with it, like being like, we called Giannis a point center, like right at certain times because he could have some distribution and ball handling responsibilities. Nowhere near this. Because Giannis is just a good playmaker for others. Like he's just like, yeah, he can do this. This is a part of his game. This is a part of what makes him special. Jokic is a top tier, upper echelon, all timer at creating for others. He is the offense, and then on top of the fact that he's good at all the ooh and ah shit that you're like, damn, he's versatile. This separates him from other bigs. The big man shit, he's phenomenal at. He might be the best. He might be the best at setting on-ball screens, off-ball, on-ball, whatever. He might be the best screener in basketball. He has an argument for top 3 rebounder in basketball. At the center position, he's top 3 scoring that motherfucker too. Just because he don't put up 40 a night, don't mean he not top 3 scoring that motherfucker too. Now, who's gonna give it to you on 3 levels like he can? Who's gonna dominate in the post? I'm talking about. He may be the most dominant post presence in basketball. If you look at his resume over the last few years, we may be talking about the most dominant post presence in basketball. We may also be talking about the most dominant mid-range shooter in basketball. I think so. I think in the last 5-6 years, Nikola Jokic is the most dominant mid-range. I'll have to go back and look at the numbers because I haven't looked at the numbers in about a year and a half or so, specifically as far as in regards to his mid-range numbers, because I just figured you could count them. That's in the basket. That's money in the bank. He's going to be top 2 and not 2. And then he's respectable from the 3. You have to honor and respect the 3 ball. Like Nikola Jokic, I think is a coach's dream. I think he's a coach's dream. I just can't think. And I think there's some level of xenophobia that goes on in this league where it's just we're all the time we're looking for the next guy when we've got all these people who aren't American kind of at the zenith of the sport right now. I listen to some of these American-born players and former players and stuff like that. I listen to them talk and this guy, this is the next guy, this is the next guy. No, the next guys are playing right now, and also Wemby. Wemby's the next guy. A down start to the season is not gonna sour me on Wemby. I saw what I needed to see from Wemby already. I'm sorry, it's a closed case. It's a done deal. It's not even an issue. I don't even know why we're talking about it. You know what I mean? Take away a blood clot. I don't give a fuck what you say. You're not gonna sour me on Wembanyama, by the way. I just want to put that out there. It's not happening. But Jokic, I don't know where he's from. It's some Slavia. I should know it. It could be Lithuania. It could be Yugoslavia. I don't know. I don't think Yugoslavia exists anymore. I don't know where that man is from. Slovenia, I think. Listen to me. That is my dynamic, beloved, glorious porcelain king. All right. Nikola Jokic is the best that the white race has to offer. He's just that guy. He's just that guy, I'm so glad that we get yet another player that's this unique, right? And is carrying the torch. Is carrying the torch in a lot of ways, right? He's the next step of that like Sabonis type of mold, where it's like something that we saw a little bit with Sabonis. We're starting to see like what a player of that size and that skilled at the 5 position, who's also able to play make for others at that level, with that level of mastery. What that does to a basketball court, what that does to a team, what that looks like. Like, he is the point guard for the Denver Nuggets. Like, he is the point center. He's center, but he's also like, he is that offense. And he can do it with the ball. He can do it without the ball. He legitimately gets people open with his screening ability every bit as well as he gets them open with his ability to read the defense and make passes. And I think he's opening the door. I think he's opening the door for other big men who are talented in the ways that he's talented to be leaned upon. They want to push the envelope. Let's see. The door has been kicked down now. You've got your Senguns. You got your Domantas Sabonis, who's obviously the son of the former Sabonis, who really kicked off, I think, this whole idea of the mythical big man who's the best, who's one of the best passers in basketball. And we didn't get to see, I'm not going to butcher his name, but we didn't get to see Sabonis, the first Sabonis to be in the league. We didn't get to see how good he could be because he came over here much older and much more battle worn and damaged. And also, I don't believe they would have put the ball in his hands to the magnitude that they do with Jokic. Like, Jokic runs the ball in transition. He'll bring the ball up. And again, I just think he's able to create without having the ball and without being the one to deliver the assist in so many ways, where it's like, listen, this guy's just, that's why he's the GOAT. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time right now. I'm just saying you'd be so hard pressed to find a guy that affects the game in so many positive ways and negatively impacts it so little, right? Than you will with a guy like Jokic. Like, he has that quality to him. And again, like, this is very similar to LeBron. I think the way that he plays is impacting the league, and we're seeing it at light speed. It's changing what we value. It's changing what we'll allow. It's changing the boundaries of the position. And listen, right? Like, for what it's worth, you got to lean into how far this can go. When big men can be the hub of the modern offense again without having to be Shaq or Joel Embiid. Because everybody can't be those guys. Everybody can't be Jokic either, but you got a better chance of affecting the game with your passing than just being a dominant scorer that warrants a lot of paint touches or has to put up a ton of shots in today's NBA. Some of the drama, right, to keep it pushing, some of the drama that we're seeing currently with the former Warrior Klay Thompson, it's not really drama, but to me it's very, very bittersweet. Obviously, if you've been paying attention to that situation all last year and the year before, like, there were talks about Klay being really, really frustrated that a certain amount of money wasn't being offered to him. And I don't know that the Warriors, I don't know, I haven't heard anybody act like it was fucked up that the Warriors let Klay Thompson walk. Nor have I heard anybody say it was fucked up that Klay Thompson walked. I think that, unfortunately, due to the nature of the Splash Brothers and the Warriors and how long those guys came together, and even that last title that they won over the Celtics in 2022, I think it was, like, there's this mythical nature of the Warriors, and all those guys' jerseys are going to get retired. I think Draymond's jersey gets retired, Steph's jersey gets retired, and Klay's jersey gets retired. And if you let Steve Kerr tell it, I think that there'll be a statue outside of Oracle that's going to involve all three of them in some form or fashion. But the idea that they would all retire on this team together, to me, was always kind of like, I don't know. I think Steph Curry was the only one for whom that door was just 100% always going to be open, where it's just like, yo, if you want to retire here, you retire here. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. But as far as everybody else, especially when Steph Curry, and this is the weird part about it, man, Steph Curry's still really fucking good. Like, he is on that LeBron, Kevin Durant shit where it's like at 36, 37, like this is still going strong, stronger than anybody could have thought or hoped. I mean, there's a lot of people that says Steph Curry's game was going to age really, really, really well. And spoiler alert, they were right. But it's tough because Draymond is aging around him. Klay Thompson is aging around him. Everybody else is aging around him, and Steph Curry is still really, really fucking good, and you know what that means. If Steph Curry's really, really good, like good enough to compete for a championship, you need to be trying to put a team around him that is competing to the best of its ability and try to get as far as they can. Hopefully trying to get another championship right now. Steph Curry is what he's like I said, he's like 36, 37. He's too old to be throwing years away. Right? It's almost a disservice to him that he's still this good if he's not playing for anything. And Klay Thompson, unfortunately, suffered a lot of those injuries and in some ways couldn't get right, even though I don't think that it was necessarily couldn't get right. I think the Warriors didn't want to be attached to the level of money that they would need to pay. That he felt it was disrespectful of them not to want to pay for him to be there, because like I said, like Klay on the Mavericks, he's still playing rather well. I think Klay played rather well his last 2 seasons in Golden State. Again, I just don't think the Warriors could bring themselves to attach the amount of money that I think Klay Thompson would have wanted to see from them. And to me, it seems so bittersweet. Like Klay Thompson's trying to downplay in the interviews how he feels about going back to that arena to play those guys. It seems like he's really fucking salty. Maybe he felt like Steph should have pushed the Steph button. I don't know. There was a lot of talk of this when there was some Draymond Green issue, reaching a contract and stuff like that. They're like, yo, if Steph goes in there and says, I want this guy here, I don't care, then the deal gets done. Right? That's what people say. And so maybe Klay has a little bit of resentment towards those guys. Maybe those guys didn't step in and get involved the way Klay figured they should have. Maybe Klay's too proud to ask them to get involved and figured that like they should have wanted to in order to preserve what they had there, in order for them all to have a shot at maybe all retiring on the same team and never playing for another team. Well, Klay Thompson has officially suited up for another team and has played for another team. And I think that it's tough for him. I think he was ready to make this decision. I think he had made up his mind that he was going to make this decision if he had to. I just don't think that he 100% 2 years ago, if you ask him, I don't think he could imagine himself somewhere else. But now he's in a real good situation for himself. I like the Mavericks. I like the new look Mavericks. They're not blowing us away to start off this season. But again, I don't think anybody predicted them to make the finals last season. So I think that we just continue to look for them to improve. And I think Luka's obviously Luka, and he's consistently getting better. Kyrie is Kyrie, and now they've added Klay Thompson. That should be a significant boon to them spacing wise. So I look forward to seeing what that is. But it's been extremely bittersweet watching what's happening with I think Klay Thompson and the Warriors right now. I wish Klay Thompson would let himself enjoy the moment. There's probably some real hard feelings there, but I wish he would let that go too and just really bask in what I think he deserves, which is the recognition of his time with the Golden State Warriors. One of the best 3-point shooters we've ever seen, perhaps the best 3-point shooter we've seen, not named Steph Curry. It's just ridiculous. These are the conversations that I have with bigs and I have with other people when I go like, damn, is Ray Allen a better shooter than Klay Thompson? I don't fucking know. I don't know, and I know damn sure I'm not taking Reggie Miller over Klay Thompson as far as 3-point shooting is concerned. Like I truly did believe for the longest time that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were the first and second best 3-point shooters ever playing at the same time. And Klay was a monster. Klay was a fucking monster. Like he get you 37 points in a quarter. He get you 60 points on like 9 dribbles or some weird crazy shit like that. Like we really watched Klay Thompson push the envelope on what efficiency was, on what great shooting was, on an ability to succeed in roles that we imagine would be reduced roles for him, that he was like, nope, not for me. Not for me. I'm still going to find a way to get 20. I'm still going to find a way to get these threes up. I'm still going to have 37 point quarters. I'm still going to have 60-point games. I'm still going to be big game Klay. With respect to just everything Klay Thompson has done in this league and when he was on the Warriors, for those runs for those early runs, especially before he started getting hurt real bad. The defender he was doesn't get talked about enough. A guy that you could put on Kyrie for certain possessions or put on LeBron for certain possessions, and that is invaluable. That is valuable on a level that words can't even express. Right? Like we talk a lot about Draymond and how versatile he was on defense and what he did for that team defensively, and he was the heart and soul of that. He was the best defender on the team. One of the best defenders we've ever seen, Draymond Green, but also Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson was one of the great wing defenders to play in this league. And like I said, as I get older and I realize that the cast of players that really had my eyes glued to the screen, the cast of players that I will remember fondly and most fondly for the rest of my life, because they shaped my formative years. As I watch a lot of these guys walk out of the league or exist in forms far different than what I grew up watching or what I know them to be, or enter this new periods of their careers that just, we have to be honest, are just not their primes. Klay Thompson is one of those people who, when he hangs it up and he's decided that he's done with the game, that I'm going to be shocked, because I'm just not ready to live in a world where Klay Thompson doesn't play basketball. The same way I wasn't ready to live in a world where Carmelo Anthony doesn't play basketball. The same way I wasn't ready to live in a world where DeMarcus Cousins is out of the league. The same way, like where Derrick Rose is retired, where Jeff Teague is retired. Like, that cast of players, and I think this happens to every fan. Right, when you grow, and these players, they're growing with you. It's not just you, and a lot of them were older than you to begin with, like really older than you, much older than you. You look up and you go, damn, a lot of these players didn't exist in my worldview and my purview, and I just is insane. The league looks totally different. Like, I remember when Giannis came into the league. Like, I remember when there were hush whispers of this kid in Greece that they had footage of, and he was Magic Johnson-esque, and he was playing point guard and all this stuff. Like, I remember these conversations. I remember these things. I remember not knowing what these guys would be. I remember Damian Lillard being fresh in the league. And what a shocker it was that he hit the ground running the way he was, and how Chris Paul was like, yo, this guy's going to be something special. And then he was. It's bananas. It's crazy. And so, like I said, like, I just, as we enter the twilight years of Klay Thompson's career, and as his time with the Warriors is coming to an end, and we're watching people celebrate that and watching the Warriors celebrate that moment, take a snapshot, man. Every now and again in this league, you got to just take a snapshot of the lay of the land and appreciate it, and look back in like 5 years, 10 years, and realize how different things are. Because we are in that transitionary period where the league is taking a while, because like the guys carrying the torch have, for some reason, just been able to carry it higher for longer. like I said, Steph Curry is 37, KD is the same age, LeBron is 40. And these guys still feel like they're the main topics of conversation, and like they're playing sensationally, because they are, right? But we are at that place. We are at that place where it's time to take stock of the league and what's going on in it, and who's next. Speaking of Giannis, Giannis got his foot under Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum rolled his ankle, and there is Giannis Antetokounmpo dirty player talk has begun to creep up. I feel like I've seen the question asked before, but there is this thing where, like, Giannis is it can be very careless with his body at times, which can lead him to put other people's bodies in danger. And I don't think that Giannis, I don't think he's a dirty player. I've never gotten that vibe from him, but I do think that he plays with a level of reckless abandon sometimes, especially when he's going really hard, and when he's really, he's got some grit and grind in him now. Right? He's got some grit and grind in him now, which can, and he's a big, strong, long dude. Like, I think he puts himself in situations sometimes where, in the course of putting his body on the line, or in the course of trying his absolute best and everything else be damned, I think that he puts himself in some positions that might lead you to feel like he's a dirty player, because things tend to happen that way with him. But I wouldn't consider Giannis a dirty player. I've never seen him as a dirty player. Again, I think he goes balls to the wall when he does, and it makes it. Again, he's a huge dude, and it can be difficult to navigate that, right? Like sometimes he comes flying at you after a closeout, and he can't stop, and it's like, what the fuck? Or sometimes he's trying to close out on you real hard, and he doesn't. He just doesn't give you space, which you're supposed to legally. You have to give the shooter space to land, and he won't sometimes, and that needs to be appropriately dealt with. Whatever the consequences are for that, he should face them. But I don't know if I'm willing to call him a dirty player. It's not somewhere that I can go with him as of yet. I think I'd be willing to say it if he was. All right, like if I truly did feel like he's a dirty player, I do think he does things that he wouldn't be happy if were done to him. 110%. Like I could totally see, like, if another guy was playing defense on him the way that he likes to play defense sometimes, or if another guy was as reckless with their body around him as sometimes he can be around others. Yeah, I think he'd be more than a little upset. But I think that's a part of what makes him the type of competitor he is, though. I really do think he's a monstrous competitor, and he doesn't seem to be buddy with a lot of the guys in the league, and he just really seems to be about business and about making shit happen and about being a leader on his team and stuff like that. Not that, again, he seems to buy into a lot of the fucking fairy tale shit around the sport, that I got to do this because I'm this and I'm that, and a lot of mama mentality bullshit that doesn't necessarily rub me the way that it rubs some of you guys. But no, I don't think Giannis is a dirty player. I can't get to that point with him, not yet. We'll keep our eyes out though. I wanted to talk about the Cavs. Not too much. We're gonna wrap this up shortly, but I wanted to talk about the Cavs just briefly and just say that I'll just be the first one to say that I'm 100% shocked at what the Cavs are doing. Not because I didn't think they were a good team, not because I didn't think they were one of the best teams in the East. I think that's obvious. I've really liked this roster for a long time. I'll be real. I didn't know, like 2 years ago, that I think that Donovan Mitchell would still be here right now. Probably not. But he is. He's bought in. Evan Mobley has been somebody I've been interested in his development since he got in the league. And he seems to be making strides this year. I think he's always been a phenomenal defender, somebody that I'm incredibly satisfied with on that end of the ball. But again, the development of his offensive game has been like a real focal point for people that want to talk about this team, because I do think that the refinement and development of his offensive game will be the harbinger of this team's ultimate success and ultimate development. Darius Garland continues to show improve, continues to honestly outdo himself and outdo our expectations. And again, Jared Allen, I'm just always going to be a huge Jared Allen guy from his time on the Nets. I loved him on the Nets, and I decided that I was going to be a Jared Allen fan no matter where he goes. Just don't end up on the Knicks. Don't make my job any harder than it is. But the Cavaliers is just this is great. This is great because the Cavs have not had, they've had some good lucky breaks, right? Like after they lose LeBron that first time, they end up with Kyrie Irving, and then LeBron comes back and everything like that. But you could argue they haven't had that much success at all without LeBron. And what does a true post LeBron era look like for Cleveland? And it looks like this, right? Like it looks like this. This is what we get, and the people of Cleveland get to enjoy a great team, right? Like when one thing is done and you have to, dismantle it and build something new, this is the ideal, right? That through the right trade here and there and the right free agency pickup and the right drafting, that like within a reasonable time frame, you could find yourself being really good soon, right? Like enough to survive a championship window closing, enough to survive losing the best player in your franchise history, enough to survive all these things and be able to look to a bright future, and Cavs fans to really, really, really enjoy the team that they're fielding every night right now, and to see themselves in still a really good position, right? Like we're it seems like we're poised for a new generation to know the Cavs as a successful NBA franchise. And when I say successful, I don't mean like to be pejorative, like like they've always been bottom of the barrel bullshit. No, but I do think that it is a privilege. Is a privilege to see your team rebuild in the right way, in a way that you can take pride of and that makes you happy and that makes you feel secure for the future. And I think that Cleveland has done that in the way that they've entered this post LeBron era, right? So shout out to them. You gotta make some noise for them. That's always gonna be important. And we'll wrap this up talking about the God himself, Anthony Edwards. I don't think it needs stating that I'm a big Anthony Edwards guy, because I thought everybody was a big Anthony Edwards guy. I thought that's just what we were doing. Everybody seems to love his game. Everybody seems to love who he is as a person. But one thing that's been confounding people this year, and me included, because I don't understand it and I don't want to understand it, I just want it to keep happening. Anthony Edwards is breaking people's brains because he's attempting somewhere like I think it's like 12 or 13. It's a ridiculous amount of threes a game. I think he's on pace if he continues the way he is. It's early in the season, but if he continues the way he is, I think he's going to be like second all time in threes made. People are starting to make the argument that he's playing like Steph Curry. I'm not going to say that yet. I'm just not. But he's shooting like 12, 13 threes a game, and he's shooting like 45% on those. This doesn't make any sense. He's turning into the perfect wing scorer right before our eyes, right? Like, this makes no sense for somebody to be as good as he is at attacking the rim and creating his own shot and you know, getting to his spots and making shit happen. For him to develop this type of shooting stroke right now, like not just like somebody who can keep you honest, not just a good 3-point shooter, but might be having the best 3-point shooting season in the league, might be one of like a top 5, top 3 3-point shooter in the league right now, period. It's just something that I don't think we may have never seen this from anybody with his ability to get to the basket. Of course, Steph can get to the basket incredibly well, but I just mean how dynamic he is in terms of the havoc he causes when he gets to the basket, when he gets to the lane, when he gets around the lane. Steph Curry was going to finish at a high clip at all times, but like Steph Curry going to the basket doesn't necessarily just collapse everything the way Anthony Edwards does. And I just don't, you can't fucking guard him now. Like this is it. If he's going to be pulling 12, 13 threes a game and shooting 45% from the field, you just can't guard him. Now you just can't guard him because playing up is hell, and giving him room is hell. There's nothing anybody can do, right? He is a scheme assignment. He is a team assignment. There's no one solution to this. Like, it's the whole entire team. He's made himself that guy. He's a team cover. But I look forward to seeing this. I just don't. I can't imagine he could shoot 45% on 3 this whole season on this volume. Like, that puts him in such rare air. And then next season, if he continues that, we'll have to talk about like, yo, is this guy is one of the best 3-point shooters to ever do this, right? Like, this is a ridiculous season. He's not Steph. 100%. No. Not Steph. It's not Steph. I'm not even entertaining that. But I don't see what you're supposed to do. And Anthony Edwards adds new wrinkles to his game every year, as he should. He improves every year, as he should. But I don't know what they're supposed to do with this. I don't know what they're gonna do about this. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't. That's just. We gonna end on that note. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, and again, I can't wait to see what the league looks like in 5 years. I really can't, because if you go back 5 years from now, like 5 years in the past from right now, this moment, and you told me what was going on in the league and who was doing what, I would be in shock and awe. I would not be able to comprehend it. And Anthony Edwards is another one of those where it's like I didn't even really pay attention to him that much his rookie season because I didn't really see anything of him when he was in college, and I just was like, yeah, guy's the number 1 overall pick. Let's see how it pans out. And he has been better than I could ever imagine at every step of the way, and clearly will continue to surprise me. So, appreciate y'all for being with me. Pardon me for getting this one out to y'all a little late, and we should have Bays in the building next week on the next episode